accept. So it was like telling those people of Melian, it's either you give us this or we take it. And I see the same thing, the blame. And then he'll no longer be accountable. The people who we sent there, they'll be the ones who will be accountable. So if Ruto does nothing, in the end, we'll only have to blame the people we sent to the dialogue. And that's the problem with the dialogues. The dialogues are not he wanted to divorce his wife and marry another wife because his wife had not given him any sons. But then the Pope could not accept for King Henry to divorce his wife. And he had banned the King Henry from divorcing his wife. Now a guy was working for King Henry was called Cromwell. He came that the fathers are raping the altar boys and such stuff. And so what happened? They banished, started a new church called the Anglican Church. Now what we have as ACK in Kenya. So the revolution had started from just King Henry wanting a wife. Started revolution for King Henry. Now he was being blamed for everything that is happening. Now what did Cromwell do? Cromwell had a cousin who he was grooming to be a queen one day. Cromwell sent an artist to go and paint the cousin and bring the picture to the king so that the king can see Cromwell's cousin and marry her, and Cromwell can regain the king's graces. So the artist went and did that. Now the new queen was arriving on the wedding day to be married in the Anglican church. When she arrived, she was not as beautiful as she had been painted. That's what the king said. And the king got very angry at Cromwell, and 2 weeks later, Cromwell was beheaded in England. See, that's the problem now when a revolution goes too far or when a revolution goes too quick before the people can adapt to it. Right now, the millennials and the Gen X are still trailing behind the Gen Zs. But when the Gen Zs go without planning, when they just go with momentum and the spirit of the moment, people will fall off. What we are seeing right now, people are saying, why are we continuing with this and that? And now it will become a poisonous thing. It will be a gift and a curse. And it will be a curse mostly for the people who are progressing it. I think that's what I have to say. Yeah.
And you know, who else is has the mic on? Okay, yeah. And you know the worst thing about a revolution like this is that because you have not put your weight behind the people who've come out to say, I mean, to even show interest in being the representatives, then when the revolution starts to wane, those people who came out are going to be targeted by the system. Make it very interesting. The ones who came out and said, oh, Akina Dedan Kimaji and everybody. Now the system has to eliminate them because the system cannot have them existing.
True. And you see, Kibe, there is this book, it's called 1984. It started with someone who was against the government at all. He was saying things about freedom and the way you have to stand for the truth. And then now they come, those are the people who are being captured, and they're being captured. And then in the end, that person, he started when he was saying freedom is freedom to say 2 + 2 = 4. And when it ends, he's saying 2 + 2 can equal 5. So once he had started being revolutionary, he came, the government takes him, he was tortured and everything, and then now he's compromised. And that's what happens for the government to control people.
All right. Thank you, Sabath. I appreciate that. Appreciate your submission. Thank you for coming through. Nice thoughts. So we have like another 15 minutes. Can we make the most out of it? Karani Mwiti, what's up?
Okay. How are you guys? And I hope you're okay. Nimesikiza that book, that story of the King Charles, and it's so inspiring. Sina mengi sana leo, lakini mnaangazia tu ile maneno ilitendeka jana na vyenye Gen Z, they are organizing themselves so that they can be able to conquer this leadership of a hustler nation. So kile nauliza, je, kesho kuna holiday ama bado kesho ni mikakati?
Unauliza nani?
Nauliza the group of Jay-Z's. You are among them. We are among.
Yep. There's nobody to ask. If you're doing it, why not say tomorrow, me as Karani, I will be here and here and here, and I feel strongly enough that I'm going to do this tomorrow. Because who are you asking? Who's going to give instructions now?
Okay. Sorry to ask, but I was just asking as a question so that the group can be able to answer. But I'm not asking anybody. We are the Jay-Z's. I was just asking. Sorry for misunderstanding.
No. I totally get you. I completely get you 100% because you need to know what's next. There are a lot of people who are asking what's next, and they want this what's next from a credible source. So I totally get you, and I'm not. I totally get what you're asking. So don't get me wrong as well. All right. Thank you, Karani. Let's see if anybody has an answer to your question.
Okay. Thank you for your concern. Thank you.
Who has an answer to Karani? Who wants to answer Karani? He's asking tomorrow is what's going on. John, do you have an answer?
Hello. Hi, Andrew. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Andrew, I think we can. First of all, Andrew, thanks for hosting this space, especially in what's going on in light of everything that's going on. It takes quite some nerves for you to come out and be willing to host this space. So thank you. I think in answer to Karani, I think Bernice kind of summed it up.
Hello, Kibe.
Previously,
Okay.
and she said that what we need to do is kutokea, occupy. I don't know if Karani was there when Bernice was talking about that. So anyway, Andrew, and what I wanted to talk about was 4 things. First, I wanted us to maybe highlight 4 things. The first point was that it is possible for us to create a good country. It is possible for us to create a good government with equity, equality, and opportunity for everyone. Obviously, in past generations, we kind of did not have parents who made that possible for us. And therefore, we thought that it's not possible, and it wasn't a reality for a lot of Kenyans. Secondly, I think we need to study history and see how politics has previously been played in Kenya. What lessons can we learn? Has there been similar situations in the past? What comes to mind is in 1992 when Kenyans wanted Moi out. He had been there for almost 20 years, and guys were like, enough is enough. And similar chance, Moi must go. So what lessons can we learn from that scenario then? Thirdly, we need to talk about strategy, because they say that when you go for the king's head, you better not miss. And fourthly, it's the issue on leadership. So my take on these four things, I think the first one being that it's possible for us to create a good country. That doesn't need much explaining. Secondly, on my thoughts about why we need to study history, and especially Kenyan history, because most of our leaders are local leaders. We don't have leaders who came from elsewhere, from Canada or wherever. So the lessons we can learn and the lessons that the leaders in Kenya currently are emulating are lessons from there. And we can learn a lot from Moi. How did he manage to rule a country for a quarter of a century? What did he do? What were his ploys? I think for those who can remember 1992, what was going on was when people wanted Moi to leave, he used just human nature, which was what? Greed, fear. There were those who were in that space then who were calling for Moi to leave. There were those who were cowed into fear. There were those who were bribed. Remember so many. I don't know if you recall years back when Kikuyus used to call Kibaki General Kewoya, meaning general fear. Why? Because they had all agreed, the leaders then in the opposition, who were in government and opposition, they were going to rebel against Moi and they were going to resign from his government. A lot of them, some of them did, being led by Matiba. And on the day of announcing their resignations, Kibaki did not. Why? Out of fear. What happened to Matiba? We all know what happened to Matiba. They tried to eliminate him. Some say he was poisoned with mercury, what have you. Others were bribed. So those are the lessons that we need to study and see, will Ruto employ those things? Where is Ruto learning his strategies from? Obviously from Moi. He was working for Moi as a student at the university during Youth for Kenya, Youth for KANU 92 with Cyrus Jirongo. And they employed all these tricks, but they're really not tricks. It's politics. It's a game of who has what, when, and where. What? Power, money. So we have to think of it in that content. Even the meeting that you saw yesterday, the dialogue that was being called, it was all politics. Is who gets what, when, and where. When these Gen Zs are asking for these things, how does it affect me? As the leaders that you saw there, that's how they were thinking. That's they had to unite for unity of purpose. And what is their purpose? The Gen Zs want to change everything. They want to take the power away, and with the power comes the money. And all of them have been beneficiaries of that money and that power. So obviously they're going to form together and form a unity of purpose and come and say that, hey, we want dialogue. But we know how dialogue has been in Kenya for years and years and years. So secondly, we want to think about strategy. What's the strategy? What do the Gen Zs want and how do they want to achieve it? I guess that is too long of a discussion to have in one forum, but it's something for us to think about. How can we devise a strategy? Because put in mind, you've gone for the king's head. What's the king going to do? Is he going to sit back? Nobody will give you the power. No one. It's unfathomable to think that, hey, you've gone to the streets. Okay, no problem. I'll give you all the power. Here, have it. I'm going to move to Sugoi and just relax there and retire peacefully. It's not going to happen. And my final thoughts would be on leadership. And I think we can learn that from our past history. What has happened, or what happened when in 1992, when there was that leadership vacuum? There's a whole bunch of people, Matiba, Kibaki, Shikuku, Orengo was there as well. All of them clamoring for that hope that we had then to remove Moi. I was still a young boy in primary school then, but I remember what was going on then. I think that it's too early right now to pick a leader. Why? What do you think the king is doing when he sees you picking a leader? He's also strategizing. Obviously, he's not going to give up the power. That's not going to happen. So he's strategizing. And what is he going to do? He's going to use just same human nature. Fear, greed. We've seen it. They've killed. That's not unlikely for it to happen. So what would happen if you pick a leader now? Hey, here are our 10 leaders that we've picked. Is it possible that the 10 could be killed? And if they are, what happens to the movement then? So I think it's too early to pick a leader. Because if you pick a leader, if I being the king, I will pick out the leaders and pull them apart one by one. There are others who will be bribed. For me to retain power, what would 20 million be for me to?
Hold up, John. Just listen to this tweet by Miguna.
Okay.
Says this is now Miguna says, but he starts like this. He says Kenyans don't want IEBC constituted by conmen, tyrants, murderers, and looters. Kenyans want to overhaul the entire rotten political structure and thereafter establish a credible, accountable, and transparent government and an IEBC answerable to them, the people. Kenyans don't want to dialogue with killers, conmen, and looters. Kenyans want Ruto to resign with his entire government. No retreat, no surrender. What do you have to say about that tweet?
I think that is a solution. That is a solution, Kibe. Because all we're doing is playing musical chairs. And that's what we've been doing, playing musical chairs for 20, 30 years. And they know it. They know it. All of them have been, they're all friends, they're all cousins, they're all buddies. And occasionally they bring in one new face. Now the new face that is being brought in is Ichungwa and Dindinyoro and Marcomen, but they were not in this circle 10, 15 years ago. They're not. Those who were there previously, they're all gone. Biwott is gone, Kibaki is gone, Moi is gone, and this is a new generation. But they've been there together, either through their parents or through their other relations. So what Miguna is saying is true. And I support what he's saying, that it is possible for you to create a country where there's opportunity for everyone. And I was having a conversation earlier on this morning with some of my high school guys. And I was telling you, it's not about me and you and whoever else who can afford. There are people in Kenya who cannot afford a simple cup of tea. And that is sad. That is absolutely sad. And unfortunately, a lot of us Generation X's, I think that's who I am, we're comfortable and sitting wherever we are, and it doesn't bother me. But it should bother you, because if there are people who cannot have a decent meal, it should bother you. Well, there are others. So what do we do? So I totally support what Miguna is saying. But on my final point,
John.
Yes.
Maybe let me read the text to you again, okay?
Yes.
Oh man, I lost it.
It was on instituting the IEBC again. because we know how this game is played. We know how
Yeah.
it's
So
played.
my point
we
is
know,
this. So
yeah.
Miguna talks a big game, but where is the action behind it? Okay. So you just hold on. I'll get the text. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
He says. So he starts again very, very well. Kenyans don't want IEBC constituted by conmen, tyrants, murderers, and looters. We are okay and up to that point.
Yes.
Kenyans want to overhaul the entire rotten political structure and thereafter establish a credible, accountable, and transparent government and an IEBC unanswerable to them, the people.
Andrew, think of this. Would instituting an
John,
that to be, yeah.
What is the single most important thing for this movement right now? What is the one thing that this movement cannot do without the world into the reality? Okay? Because what Miguna is saying, this is Disney, this is Mickey Mouse, my guy. Kenyans don't want IEBC constituted by conmen, tyrants, murderers, and looters. Good. Kenyans want to overhaul the entire rotten political. This is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
This is just Mickey Mouse.
It is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
It is Mickey Mouse. And why, Andrew, why is that pressing now? You know why? Because if they institute that IEBC however they want it to be, obviously they'll have control over it. Then Gen Z says,
they, not if,
we want a new parliament.
Not institute. They already have. In fact, I want another one from Kimani Ichung'wah yesterday, so that you can tell me where you guys come in to play. So composition of the IEBC selection panel, that was done yesterday.